What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, well, pretty much all the Worlds Colliders leaked because of the big Target leak of 2019. So it's time to look at key cheating cards. Cards that allow us to forge a key outside of the usual time, the beginning of our turn, when we should be forging a key. And not for nothing, but the Saurian Republic got 3 key cheating cards. That seems a little bit, unfair, if I'm honest with you. We're also seeing a key cheating card for Dis, who up till now have been the only house who didn't have a key cheating card. Though, right, as I say this, it really must be borne in mind that the only key cheating card that we actually saw for logos previously was Redacted, which I don't think we can really, in good conscience, actually count, because it's kind of terrible. Now, some of these key cheating cards we have seen before, so we're going to flick through them nice and quickly and then get on to the new ones. So we had previously seen that Logos was getting a new key cheating card, Data Forge. And Data Forge, well, when you play it, you may forge a key at plus 10 current cost, reduced by 1 amber for each card in hand. It was a neutered version of Key Abduction, because Key Abduction lets you forge a key for plus 9 current cost, minus 1 for each card in hand, and that is after returning each Mars creature to your hand. But the thing you got to bear in mind here is that Logos has phenomenal draw power. I mean, imagine getting this with something like a library access, and they got Library of Babel and Time Traveler and all sorts. Plus, they've got phenomenal archiving. So, yeah, that's basically the reason. They are great at drawing cards and archiving cards, which you can then draw at the beginning of your turn. So that's why it's so good in Logos. We had also previously seen the Lone Grand Star Republic key cheating card, Forging an Alliance. Gives you an amber bonus, and when you play it, you forge a key at plus 7 current cost, reduced by 1 amber for each house represented among cards in play. And by cards in play, we mean artifacts, upgrades, and creatures. Now, obviously here, the ideal situation is that you're using 3 houses and your opponent is using a different 3 houses. All 6 are represented, and you're forging for 7 amber, which is the same as a key charge, and key charge has been proven to be the best key cheating card that we've had so far. Cool. The problem is that's rarely going to work. What I do find very interesting about this is that as time goes by, we're going to be getting more houses. We already think we're getting fish people and pirates. At least I do. I'm fairly sure. Which means that in non-sealed tournaments, in Archon tournaments, in tournaments where you can use any of the sets, it's going to be more likely you're playing 6 different houses, and this is going to get better and better. And we had seen one for the Saurian Republic that I am a redonkulous fan of, the Colosseum. After an enemy creature is destroyed while fighting, it's an artifact again, put a glory counter on the Colosseum, and it's got an Omni ability, i.e. it doesn't matter who your active house is. If there are 6 or more glory counters on the Colosseum, remove 6 and forge a key at current cost. So you do still need to pay the amber, but you're not paying any extra amber. And what I adore about this is that the Saurian Republic, they've got some pretty beastly creatures. Don't want to give too much away because I'll be doing videos about these in the future, but how about Grimlocus Ducks? An 11 power 2 armor creature. That's pretty gosh darn good. So, yeah. We're going to be winning a few fights here, and it doesn't matter when the fights happen. If your enemy creatures start the fight, they're still destroyed while fighting. It is during your turn or during your opponent's turn, whether you start the fight or your opponent starts the fight, you get a glory counter on, and then you can use it at any point during any turn. It doesn't get sacrificed, and it means that if your opponent's doing stuff like playing Miasma to try and make you skip your key forging step, it's just not gonna work. The Colosseum, I think, is phenomenal. But the Saurian Republic actually have 2 other key cheating cards. Yeah, they got 3 in the first set where they're coming out, which is kind of crazy. And you know that unless the algorithm prohibits it, someone's going to open all 3. Although it depends how well they work in the deck, doesn't it? Imperial Forge reads. Now, it's an action card, gives you an amber bonus. Forge a key at +8 amber, reduced by 1 amber for each amber on friendly creatures. Now remember, the Saurian Republic's thing, their special skill is exalting. And exalting means putting an amber from the common pool onto your creature. Now the problem with that is that if your opponent then destroys that creature, they get the amber, and the amber came from the common pool and then goes to your opponent. What we really need is some cards which are going to give us an advantage for having them on there, and oh my goodness, this is a huge advantage. And the great thing about Imperial Forge is you can exalt your creatures during your turn and then immediately play this down and forge a key. Something like Grimlocker's Ducks, you exalt it twice when you play it. So that's 2 amber right off the bat, which means that it's not +8 current cost, it is +6 current cost. Then, of course, we've previously looked at Favor of Rex, an action card, trigger the play effect of a creature as if you've just played it. So you exalt Grimlocker's Ducks another couple times, and then all of a sudden, it's +4 current cost, except you get an amber for Favor of Rex and you get an amber for Imperial Forge, so really it's only +2 current cost. Do you see where we're going with this, ladies and gentlemen? This is a phenomenal card. If it was an artifact and it went down exhausted and then you had to use it next turn, I would be less of a fan of it, purely because there was more time for something to go wrong, your opponent to get rid of your exalted creatures, etc. But as it stands, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a phenomenal card. I think it is a great card, and I think people are going to forge a whole bunch of keys. And seriously, there are so many exalting effects, it would take a whole video to really go through the exalting of the Saurian Republic. And to be fair, I might go and make that video in a few days. It's going to be a slightly long one, there is lots of exalting, but I think it's fair to look at all of the options here. But maybe you don't want to spend any amber. Maybe you want to forge an extra key without spending amber. Well, good news, ladies and gentlemen. Might I introduce you to Triumph? An action card for 1 amber. If there are no enemy creatures, exalt each friendly creature. If you do and there are 6 or more friendly creatures, forge a key at no cost. That is utterly, utterly ridiculous. And what happens in the situation where you happen to draw this with an Nepenthe? Now, it's not going to happen often, right? What if it does? Because the thing is, there's no downside for playing this other than exalting each friendly creature. So, okay, you do have to essentially put 6 amber on the board, and as a side note, I should mention Nepenthe is not in the set, so you would have to get it as a legacy. Now, as a side note here, why is it 6 amber? Well, very simply because 6 amber is how much it costs to forge a key. So in order to actually use tribute, you've got to put enough amber on your creatures to allow your opponent to forge a key when they destroy those creatures. If they play some kind of, well, just board wipe, something like an unlocked gateway, for instance, they will literally just be able to forge a key on their following turn with the amber they got from destroying those creatures. But what if you can find a card to let you play this twice? Or what if this isn't limited to 1 per deck? And you've got to imagine this is limited to 1 per deck. I will be stunned if this, and again, when the decks are out and they're scanned, we'll get the data, and I'll do a video like I do for every set, looking at the cards which are limited to 1 per deck. This has got to be limited to 1 per deck. Because the problem is, there's no downside for playing this. You don't destroy your creatures. You don't lose all your amber. It doesn't end your turn. Just, if there are no enemy creatures and you've got 6, you exalt them all and forge a key. Which means if you've got 2 Triumph, you exalt them all again and forge another key. That's ridiculous. I feel very confident that if these are not limited to 1 per deck, there are going to be decks that have strong creatures and free Triumph that are going to be just over the top broken. And if you don't have a board wipe, you will lose to that deck like every time. Now, don't get me wrong, you've got to clear your opponent's board, but this is an action card, it's not an alpha card. You don't have to play it at the beginning of your turn, so you can just fight with all your creatures, clear all your opponent's creatures, and then go. And just forge. It's phenomenal. I love it. There is one more. Speaking of forging a key without actually having to pay any amber, Obsidian Forge. Now, you do have to pay amber here, but you might not need to. Obsidian Forge is an artifact in Dis, and it is Dis's first key cheating card, so now all the houses have one. And it gives you an amber bonus when you play it. And it reads, sacrifice any number of friendly creatures. You may forge a key at +6 current cost, reduced by 1 amber for each creature sacrificed this way. If you do, destroy Obsidian Forge. So this has a lot of downside, right? It's an artifact, so it comes into play exhausted. And you got to destroy it so you can't use it over and over again. And you can essentially be forging a key at current cost. All you got to do is sacrifice 6 creatures. And again, this really is going to depend on how many creatures you have in your deck. If you get a deck filled with creatures, this is going to be great. But having said that, you're not going to want to get rid of every creature. Some of the creatures in your deck are going to be too good. I mean, imagine if you get this with something like an Ember Imp or a Restringuntis. They are just your standard, oh my god, they're so broken, discards. Well, yeah, you're not going to want to sacrifice those creatures. So, you need to kind of wipe your own board to do so. And of course, you don't want to be using Obsidian Forge when you know your opponent's playing Tribute, because that's going to give your opponent a chance to go, oh, you've only got 2 creatures on the board. Yeah, I'll take those 2 out and then forge for no cost. It's kind of funny. I really like this. I like that all houses now have key cheating cards. I am concerned that we might end up in a format before too long where the only good decks have key cheating cards. And if you don't have good key cheating cards, you can't win. Could be wrong, but I do worry that we might end up in that situation where it's key cheat or bust, except for a couple really weird exceptions. There's always going to be weird exceptions. But for now, I'm just excited about new key cheating cards. Although, let's be clear, if there is not some limit in the algorithm, there is going to be a broken tribute deck. There is definitely going to be a broken tribute deck. Because the chances of just having your opponent having no creatures, maybe because you've gone and destroyed them all, and then immediately forging 3 keys in a row. Sorry, I said tribute, I meant triumph. That is just ridiculous. So there we go. There's a new key cheating cards, but as always, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to know what you think about all of these. So please do be kind enough to let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter @TheWassy, where we talk about Keyforge and a whole bunch of other games. And do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel and get weekly bonus podcasts, which I think are pretty good, though I am a little bit biased. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.